This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 410 for the week of Monday, March 14th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
On today's show, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul on with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Things are going great, Zach. Thanks for asking.
Of course. I wouldn't think of not asking you that question, Stephen. We also have animation director for Teen Titans Go and Rick and Morty. We have Bryan Newton with us. How's it going, Bryan?
It's cheesy and breezy.
That sounds smelly. We also have, of course, from Super Art Fight and Places Unknown, the dude.
Hey guys, good to see ya, good to hear ya, good to just be near ya.
Thank you, dude. So before we get into the show, I want
to... Yeah, I haven't been on the show in a while. It's great to be back.
Thank you, Steve. We will be at Anime Boston on Saturday, March 26th. Our panel will be at 3 p.m. in Heinz Panel 309. Right now, it's just going to be me and Aaron, but we're going to have a lot of cool stuff for you there. Hopefully some cool prizes as well. So please visit us. Again, that's at Anime Boston. And our panel Saturday at 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mark your calendars. Anime Boston, again, is in the city of Boston, Massachusetts. What are we going...
Don't say!
Ed, we have a manga recap of Chapter 819. What do we have going on in the anime?
We have the anime recap of episode 732.
And do you know the name of that episode, Ed?
Dead or Alive, A Fateful Countdown.
And that countdown will last for the entire anime recap. There was... What?
And then some.
Yeah, definitely. There was no actual anime episode, as many of, let's say, people who visited our site mentioned repeatedly. And we got your message. And don't worry, it will be back next week. There was a marathon going on, and it preempted One Piece. Personally, I'm fine taking a week off of the anime. But apparently 70,000 of you disagree.
Fuck Yoda.
At least people this time realized it wasn't all Oda and directed that rage toward Toei.
They just thought it was women's fault instead.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
They did do that as well.
Just the women marathoners, apparently.
Yeah, it was really...
I hate One Piece.
Yeah, the women marathoners purposely preempted the One Piece airing. It's been a conspiracy. I'm sorry you're just finding this out, but...
Regardless, they all think that Oda animates the entire show by hand. So
it's a terrible strain on Oda's wrists.
Yeah. Very few other cartoons are done live.
So look forward to our recap of 733 next week, which will end the Dressrosa fight. Spoilers, but it's gonna end it. So enjoy that. And that's just about it. I won't be here for that conclusion, and Ed and Steve are gonna take over the show next week. I'm sure they have lots of cool stuff in mind for that episode.
Got stuff in the works.
Okay, take your word for that.
They have nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's kind of what I had thought also. So listen to that. Be as surprised as I am when you listen to that episode next week. I'll be back the following week though, for probably our Anime Boston live episode. So look forward to that as well. I think that's everything. So why don't we get right into this manga chapter?
Manga!
Why don't we?
This is the anime recap for episode 732, Dead or Alive, A Fateful Countdown. Pardon me,
You forgot the countdown? That's half the episode, Ed.
I've already started forgetting about things about this episode.
It's pretty forgetful. Also, I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, I was going to listen to an anime recap of episode 733. Well,
no.
No. I mean, you could yell whatever sexist stuff you want at the three of us. Steve, myself.
Or comment on our website.
Or you could do that, but we're going to talk about 732 anyway. So take that.
Because we didn't talk about it last week.
Right.
So we're making it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, 5 minutes, 10 seconds of recap this week. I could have done with more, probably. Because I skip it anyway.
Good point. And nothing really happens, but go ahead. Am I showing my disdain for it?
Citizens continue to run away from the birdcage. They're climbing the plateau slowly. And we see Zoro and the swordsman are straining against the birdcage, as are Frankie and the Tontadas and the Coliseum guys. They're all very determined. They all make appearances. This takes several minutes. Bartolomeos, he gives a speech bucking up the Coliseum folk, and he bulges the veins on his back.
I didn't notice that, so I don't know what comment you're expecting from me, but I did not notice his back veins.
It was a little disturbing. They lingered on them for a while, and they animated them bulging out of his back. Yeah, it was weird.
Well, I'm not going back to watch that.
Yeah, they basically, but anyway, basically the Coliseum guys they're riding for Valhalla here. They're giving it all for Luffy. It was a kind of a good speech. Back up in the air, Manchuri cries some more, and then Gats climbs onto the ledge of the plateau, and now it's time to go back to the slowly moving princesses, and Doflamingo is really, really getting off on this. Like, he's making like little moaning noises. I mean, do you guys have any opinions on the first third of this episode?
I wish you wouldn't say things like that.
No, not really, to answer your question.
The overhead shot, actually, I thought was pretty cool, like with the dust and the rubble shooting the princesses from the top. But anyway, Gats at this point interrupts to announce that it won't be much longer. The star is coming, and the people are like, "What the hell? How'd you get up there so quickly, man? What do you want?" Which is, I think, the appropriate response.
It is.
And Gats is getting really animated about this, and Cavendish starts to think that Gats is talking about him, which is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a good little gag in there.
And then he got distracted by, someone being complimented, even if it wasn't him, and Law had the chance to disappear. And he does a good double take on that one. I kind of like that.
Didn't Law disappear prior to this episode?
Well, it took Cavendish a while to notice.
Well, I mean, he is in his own world there, so I guess that makes sense.
Gats runs down Luffy's Coliseum accomplishments, or Lucy. He's still referring to him as Lucy at this point. But his real name is Monkey D. Luffy, and the citizens are shocked. But after all, Pirate is the only person who can beat a pirate. And the people, they want to believe, just to make it up to King Riku for not believing him back when Doflamingo took over. So it's like, it makes sense, really. It's they're going for like touching moment. I'm not sure if it really lands that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was more affecting in the manga. But Gats just keeps talking for a while. But he does bring it home at the end. He's going to punch Doflamingo in his face, one hit knockout, and the people go wild for it. So it was a good promo from Gats, but it goes like half the episode. Yeah,
I think I like Gats more in the anime, just because I think I feel his passion, his announcer prowess a little bit more when I hear it and not just read it. Still, this episode, and I know you're not done with all the many other things that have happened.
Oh, that's the halfway point, the ad break.
But it could definitely have been folded into either the preceding or succeeding episode. But continue, please.
Really makes an argument for an abridged series, just taken seriously.
Well, not a literal abridged series, yes.
Yeah. The Coliseum guys, they love Gats' declaration, and as at the beginning of the episode, everyone gets to chime in. So Usopp and Hack and Zoro and everyone gets to say yeah, and that really just is the microcosm of dragging this episode down. That's what happens this episode. Everyone has to talk. Everyone talks too much, really. So Gats
too much.
Yeah.
And slowly, it's like they're lawyers trying to make more time so they get paid more.
Gats is billing hours here.
Yeah, exactly.
I did math at the end of this episode. It's a little pathetic, but it was really starting to annoy me.
Well, I need to hear this math, but I guess I'll wait until you're done.
Gats would be a great candidate to do a filibuster.
Yes, him and Ted Cruz, the two of them.
Him and Rand Paul. Yeah.
I forgot Rand Paul to do that.
Anyway, so Gats addresses Doflamingo directly. He's basically like acting as prosecutor here. This is actually, as I said before, the promo keeps going on. This is actually one of the better parts of it, when he's like, yeah, you did all this stuff and you're gonna get yours and whatnot. And he's trying to take attention away from Viola and Rebecca. so they don't have to kill each other. And the Dand elixirs have worn off. Down goes Hyridin. The rest of the Coliseum guys fall down shortly thereafter. Mancheri is very sad about this, but Cub cheers her up. Sai leads a second charge against the birdcage, and this is where Gyat says, "Only 10 seconds until Lucy's return. Start to chant his name, okay?" So,
in the manga, they actually go through all 10 numbers, and it probably was a better idea not to do that here.
Yes, it was. But what they did was, like, I think, 10 seconds takes about, 80 seconds? No, 80 seconds pass, and then 7 seconds of showtime have passed.
Wow. But I have to say, the music they used here was very good. The animation gets very good once the countdown from 80 to 0 starts.
Yeah.
And even when they get to 0, he doesn't actually, arrive. And also, let's be honest, Gyat's is just, randomly counting down. Does he actually know what he is counting down from? Like, he knows it was 10 minutes, but does he have a watch?
And then, well, at this point, 3 seconds
10.
are left, and 3 seconds go on for about a minute. It just keeps going and going. Luffy starts to get up. Gyat's gets a string through the chest from Doflamingo, but Gyat's is able to still keep talking, though. It's at this point that well over 2 minutes of real time have passed, and the sound finally stops, and it's time for Viola to go goodbye forever as the camera lingers on Rebecca's tits, and it's just, oh my god, they don't look right.
I have to say,
it's like they're frozen in time.
She looks wonky as shit in half the scenes, and then the other half look good. I mean, her boobs are bad the entire time, and not bad in the way that it's just they don't make sense. I mean, a lot of people think we're like anti-boobs. Okay, great if she has big boobs. There's two things.
I was watching Lupin the Third a while back.
Fujiko has great big boobs.
No, it was an episode with Fujiko and the other girl from the new series.
So
you're watching part 4.
Yeah, and the breasts obeyed the laws of gravity, and they look pretty good.
Well, no, yeah, they don't obey the laws of gravity in the first 3 Lupins as much, but yeah, in the 4th one, I think they kind of obey the laws of gravity. Not of back pain, though.
No,
Zach,
well,
relative
to what happens in One Piece, it's like far and away much better.
That's for sure.
I didn't realize Zach watched all 3 previous parts of Lupin with a keen eye.
Now you know what I look out for when I watch my Lupin series, Steve.
No, there.
I flummoxed Ed.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should jump ahead because I'm talking about one of the final scenes here. But
No, but this is pretty much it.
Yeah.
We're in the last sequence here. Just go for it.
Maybe it's because I'm gonna be honest, fans. I have not watched the anime in almost a month now. My trip kind of just like threw me for a loop, and the one time I did try watching an episode with Alex, I fell asleep.
I can't believe it.
These things happen.
Alex's couch is very comfy.
It is. I could attest.
And also, the One Piece episodes are pretty fun.
To be fair, I fell asleep during Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back on that couch. It's a good couch.
Yeah, I didn't during Jedi though. So.
One Piece.
One Piece, yeah. Maybe because I just haven't watched the anime. I meant to marathon, and I didn't I forgot that there was no anime recap last week. So I'm thinking, I still got time. I'll do a little mini marathon. And Zach was like, no, we're doing the anime recap. I'm like, crap. So I got to watch these out of order. And I didn't mind this episode too much. I thought the characters, for the most part, looked pretty good. Everything was on model. And then, of course, there's like your big, important climax of this episode of Rebecca going in to kill, quote, being controlled by Doflamingo, kill Viola. And the animation was pretty solid, on her charge. I'm like, wow, this looks pretty good. And then you get to the frame where she has the sword above her head and she's about to swing. And it looks awful. It looks terrible.
Yep.
And I'm not just talking about the boobs. Like the boobs were bad.
Face.
But
it was the face.
The face was awful. And like
everything going in many different directions all at once.
It's a still shot.
Someone has to take a screen cap of that, because that was one of the worst still shots, and it's on screen for a really long
Like,
time.
and I remember like always giving grief about like, you know, the key Enies Lobby lineup scene where they forget to like color in Chopper's blue nose. And I feel like that's more forgivable compared to something like this where it's like, come on, this shot is a few seconds long, and I know, you know, pay rates in anime blow and these people work way too hard for way too little, but like you just showed me gold a second ago and then you give me horse shit. I was surprised. I was like, why does that look so bad? Like that's not even too hard of a shot. I don't know. I'm not working over there. I don't want to I don't want to say these people are bad, but I just think it was a bad shot. It was a bad shot.
I tend to agree.
Mm-hmm. We actually get a really good speech from Viola about, you know, reminding her that it isn't her fault. She's not going to hold it against her. And it's a very emotional moment.
Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca. It's not your fault.
Shut up.
It's not your fault.
Luffy, they speed up the action just as Luffy gets in the middle of it and breaks the sword with his face. And that was I actually got really excited in that moment, but it requires like kind of forgetting momentarily like the 18 minutes that led up to it. We see that Law saved Viola with the switch technique, his room switching her with Luffy, and the smug look on Doflamingo's face is actually very well done at the very end of this episode. We see how pissed Luffy is, but that's the end of the episode.
I thought this episode was pretty good. I think I might be a little bit biased because I haven't freaking watched the anime in about a month's time. I thought, like, oh, cool. It's nice to catch up with all these characters, give them enough time. I thought their interactions were good. I liked seeing the Coliseum guys. Manchuri was like, oh, no, I failed. And Cub was just like, no, Princess, you did a very good job. I thought, like, time was equally distributed to all the characters. And I thought, for the most part, it was a pretty good-looking episode, except for that, you know, like, some of those, you know, Rebecca shots. And, of course, that big climactic scene I thought looked like trash. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. Gyat's, you know, you could really get behind his words. I know you should never say, it's only going to take about this amount of time before the character returns. Like, oh, anime, why do you do this? Why do you do this, anime? It's freaking Planet Namek all over again. But it didn't hinder it for me. I thought it was actually a decent episode.
All right.
I tend to agree. I think nothing remarkable. I think forgettable, Ed, is a good way to put it. I think it was mostly well done. I think the animation, really sadly, except for that one key scene, I think was pretty damn well done. And I thought Gyat's really stole the show as usual. But yeah, other than that, that's all I gotta say about it.
All right.
Why don't we get into the next? Ed, did you have any other thoughts beyond that?
Nope.
Okay, let's get into the next segment then.
All right.
This is the manga recap for chapter 819, Momonosuke, heir to the Kozuki Clan. Ed, what's going on the front page here?
The Decks of the World 500 Million Man arc, and we got a dragon and a lion and a gorilla, and they've all been enhanced because it's Futureland Baltimore, and they all have weapons and stuff on them. And the lion is basically Sunny.
Now,
yeah, but it's made to look like a dragon though.
Now, Ed,
right.
I don't know how much of a One Piece podcast fan you are, but you may remember that back 3 or 4 years ago, we did an episode, I think it was Gorilla plus Rocket equals, I forgot what it equaled. This is the gorilla that we saw the plans that Frankie unfurl in Machine Island when he was there.
He's got the same Frankie arms, and the lion's got Sunny's headdress.
And the old man's got Chopper's antlers.
He's
Well, he
always
had
got
those.
No, he always had those, yeah.
the snake dragon is new. The dog was there before though.
The boy grew older.
Yes.
No,
The
he
dog
was
was-
always that old in the manga.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't 2
He's
years
a
ago.
little older,
Yeah.
obviously. He's a little older.
Yeah, I think the anime changed it around to make him a lot younger.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well, either way, he grew 2 years between the time skip. I think it's fair to assume. Anything else you want to...
I really like the 1,000 Sunny lion and the snake that is now a dragon.
I just noticed that the sled, the motorized sled, is the Battle Frankie.
Oh,
They're all-
55? Oh, the motorized. Oh, that's just BF, yeah. Wonder what number that one is.
And I like how he gave all of them the data glasses. They've all, like the snake, the lion,
Well,
the
actually,
gorilla.
You mean Jordy?
The gorilla also has the same arms as Frankie.
That's what
Ed said that.
Yeah, Data doesn't need
Well,
glasses. He's
I'm
an
saying
android.
it again.
Okay. Why don't we get started into the chapter, Ed? For
Sure.
the semantics get too crazy here.
A what hangs over the crowd from last week, and the big question: Momonosuke's dad went to Rafto with Gold Roger, and Luffy looks directly at Momonosuke. He's like, "Your dad was part of the Pirate King's crew," and Momonosuke understandably begins to cry. Robin's still in shock. He's thinking about a man who learned the secrets of the world just like Rayleigh did. We flash back a bit to Rayleigh talking about, we learned about everything that occurred. So, the secrets of the world. And Zoro chimes in, and I get it. So you're saying Doflamingo and Caesar, working as an extension of Kaido, were trying to learn the secrets of the world or whatever from you guys since you were his servants. And Kinemon tearfully confirms that is the case. And that Lord Odin never burdened them with any secrets. They don't know anything. And they wouldn't say anything even if they did. I think that's Chondro who says that, and he continues. But they know that their pursuers will never cease, and they only have one choice in that case, and that is to fight. Lord Odin left them one message before his death, and everyone sort of looks on with curiosity. What's he about to say?
I left my treasure in one place. You'll just have to find it.
That checks out.
Steve, what happens next?
Yeah. But they also say open Wano's borders. And that's not just the two Wano guys, or the three Wano guys. I forgot there's a ninja now. That's also Dogstorm and Cat Viper saying it as well. And Luffy's like, whoa. And Contra goes on, we served our master Odin. We were meant to be his shield, but in the end, it was he that saved our lives. Now that we have that terrible shame looming over our heads, our only choice of action is to dedicate our lives to his final wish. And Raizo says, we must strike down the shogun of Wano and open the closed borders of our country. And
it's cool to see Greg's theory came true, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most obvious thing that they could do, since they mentioned that Wano was a closed country.
Yeah, the parallels with Japan are astounding. Kinemon continues to yell something else. Says, this is our deepest desire. Wano is essentially it's on lockdown.
Is Luffy going to be General Perry or Admiral Perry?
And this is all due to the combined strength of the Shogun and Kaido. And Brooks like, my word. And Kinemon continues, back home, the seeds of the rebellion are slowly being fermented, but they are still mere chaff before the might of the enemy's army. Victory is but a distant hope. I'd like to know who all these guys are in the background. I interpret it as some of Kaido's guys, but I guess these are actually
one of them has a top knot.
Rebels, yeah, which is pretty cool. Well, I got really excited. I saw that panel because I thought, like, oh man, I hope these are bad guys, because I really want some like Enies Lobby-esque pairing up with the Straw Hats and watch some cool fights.
Steve, I just realized. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I'm just gonna be very disappointed. It's like, hey, here's these cool new characters. They're gonna fight instead, like Dressrosa.
They're all just kind of like ninja, samurai, Japanese warrior archetypes, if you look really closely at all the silhouettes.
I just want One Piece to be shonen every now and then. That's all I want.
Make One Piece great again.
I just show that in the background of a CNN rally. Or not CNN rally, at a rally that's shown on CNN. But anyway, Steve, I want to mention, I think you might like this parallel here, is that the Rebellion has a very similar crest to the Rebellion in Star Wars as the Rebellion in Wano. They both.
Oh my god, it does! Holy shit!
How is Zach the first one to point this out?
I can't believe I didn't know that.
What the what are the parallels besides?
It's the crane crest. That's all I got going for you.
Well, samurais are Jedi.
Well, I mean,
That's
that is
true.
also
And
true.
The
Yeah.
original Star Wars is Hidden Fortress.
Maybe
Palpatine's the Shogun, and Vader is Kaido.
no,
They
it
have
would be
a
the opposite,
grand
wouldn't it?
army of the Republic.
And Bon Clay is C-3PO.
Oh my! Oh word!
I mean, it could also be
Brooke is C-3PO.
it could be the opposite too, because I mean, Star Wars, as we mentioned, was also based on a lot of Japanese lore and culture, so it just might,
And
this
also
might be
Star Wars
circular
isn't the
logic.
Star Wars isn't also the first piece of culture to like, hey, here's a rebellion.
And they're the good guys.
Well, we deal with rebellions all the time in the series. I mean, we have revolutionaries, so at some point these Wano cats have to hook up with those guys.
Mm.
And Alabasta is your cautionary tale. It's like, make sure you got good evidence before you start one.
Yeah, like DNA evidence.
What kind of DNA evidence? Yeah, we found Croc's, you know what, just everywhere. Just
Yeah,
everywhere.
his sand
That's what I was gonna. That's what I was gonna go
I
with
hate
that.
sand.
gets everywhere.
How do you
Steve,
think those crocodiles got mixed with the bananas?
Steve, finish the page.
And Kinnamon's like, we must win. Therefore, we went out to sea to search for stout allies to assist our cause. And he says, like, our first destination was Zoe. I was about to say, like, this seems like kind of far-fetched, but I guess it would make sense that they wanted to go to Zoe because they knew they had allies there. Because I was like, oh, well, why are they at Punk Hazard? But yeah, things got crazy horse once they set out. But Dogstorm continues, like, yes, the Kozuki clan and the Minks have been aligned for ages, and we swore a pact to join our fates as one.
And on the next page, Cat Viper elaborates, and he says, well, for one thing, regardless of the rest of the Minks, he and Dogstorm were basically direct servants of Lord Oden. So when they showed up, when Raizo showed up, they were basically ready to go. They were ready to pledge their assistance to the rebellion in Wano. And Dogstorm says, however, basically they were about to start fighting, and they ran into Jack, who is not even Kaido, just one of his commanders, and he nearly wiped them out. And Frankie says, well, that was only because he had that the gas weapon. It was a dirty trick, basically. And Dogstorm's like, hey, all's fair in love and war. But they are not going to be beaten like that again. They're not going to fall into the trap because they have a trick. They have an ace up their own sleeve. And the next time they fight, the Minks are going to unleash this trick, whatever it is. We don't know what it is.
Unveil their trap card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to play his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And Kinemon points out that he has a request for Luffy and for Law. He's they basically have saved Kinemon's ass like all over the New World so far. But he needs to ask for their help once again. They're just so powerful. They would be a huge help in the glorious struggle to strike down both the Shogun of Wano and the Emperor of the Sea, Kaido. It's this big request. They're all, sitting down facing Luffy in a circle. It's cool panel there. And this is Luffy just kind of is taking this in. Like, you just get this blank panel of him kind of non-reacting. But Usopp is super excited because this means that they have Samurai and Minks fighting with them, not just the Straw Hats. So that's naturally less work he has to do in the battle coming ahead.
But he's worth so much. Brian, what's next?
So you can tell by this amazing offer and all this excitement, Luffy jumps at the opportunity to say no. He turns them down flat, which is
I saw that coming.
I think
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other Straw Hats, Usopp and Chopper, are like, "No, don't turn him down."
Chopper's
I think
reaction
it went something a little. It went a little more something like this. Yay! Yay! No.
And so Usopp takes this opportunity to strangle some sense into Luffy, asking for a moment while he convinces his comrade what a mistake he's making. And Nami actually agrees with Luffy on this point, saying that they need to offer negotiations for the price of their help. Of course, the other Straw Hats.
They need
do
to
not agree
offer
with
him
this
more.
decision.
Yes.
More money. And then Usopp, I guess this is Usopp who's pinning Luffy to the ground. Luffy takes the opportunity to yell at an 8-year-old again by saying to Momonosuke, he's like, "Aren't you just a figurehead? Speak up for yourself. Aren't you the guy in charge? You're commanding all these mighty men." And Momonosuke with tears and snot in his mouth, tears in his eyes and snot coming out of his nose. He's like, "Are you just gonna stand there and cry?" Yeah. And then Nami joins the fun and starts smacking the hell out of Luffy. And even though it's a tiny panel, Luffy's face is ridiculous right now. It's just his lips are just sausages. His eyes are just like fucking bugging out of his head.
I feel like the speed lines are slightly excessive for what's happening, but I'll take it. You know,
But
I'm not gonna.
But it
Fist of
feels
love.
like, yeah, I can't tell which direction they're supposed to be moving. Is it like Usopp is pulling back and Nami's like chasing after them, or is it the opposite where Usopp's going forward and Nami is like repelling these like Luffy attacks?
Actually, this page in general has more speed lines than I could recall. I mean, and they're all just like ridiculous reaction shots and gags.
This is all high. It's all high energy.
Yeah, I imagine this to be extremely exaggerated in the anime. I think that's fair. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. And then Brook goes, it's like he's trying to explain what an heir to a kingdom means. He's like, it just means that you're in charge and you're not in charge until you come of age and you have to look to the guidance of adults. And then Nami chimes in on that. She's like, "That's right, Momo, come here. Don't listen to what idiot Captain has to say." And of course, Brook is jealous by this. He's like, "I quibble with your methods."
I don't know if jealous or as
Momonosuke-
much as just
I think it's more
undercutting
like-
the point.
No, that's that's not.
I think it's both.
any better.
Might be a little of column A
Yeah,
and a little of column B.
Yeah, I think it's a little from column A and B. But instead of running into Nami's quote-unquote arms, Momonosuke passes by her and is, I guess, thinking of a kind of internal flashback of what was going on before, maybe from his father, yeah. He said, and those words say, "Gaze out upon it. That is the world, Momonosuke." And Momonosuke stands before Luffy, like still kind of quivering with tears. But I guess he'll have something to say.
Before we go on to the next batch of pages, I just want to say the two panels of Luffy getting beat up by Usopp and Nami are hysterical. You kind of you lose sense of the detail because they're drawn pretty small, but the expressions, especially on Luffy, are hilarious.
Oh yeah, Luffy's getting. I've never seen him get bit this badly beaten by his crewmates in a while.
And at the same time, I think Luffy, when he has his face to the ground, I feel I know what he's getting at. I think we all know Luffy at this point enough to like be like, we know what he wants out of Momonosuke. So on the next page, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I also like to just to kind of transition us with these flashback lines is that even here you get assuming that this must be Oden talking, you get a sense because he knowing now that the Wano is closed and that Oden's wish was to open it up, you get a sense just in these few lines of his mindset that he wants Momonosuke to see whatever it is, wherever the situation happened to be. When he said these words, he was showing him something about the greater world and, kind of trying to foster an appreciation of this in Momonosuke's head because he knew that this was, the only way to save their country pretty much.
And
I kind of have in my head that like Wano may not be like a terribly large country. It might be the scale of like Dressrosa. But like, if the closed borders, that's literally like the only world you'd know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we go to the next page, and I'm pretty sure this is Kinemon and Kanjuro silhouetted here, claiming that they're surrounded. and Momonosuke sniffling as he continues to look up at Luffy. And then we have a very Simpson-esque looking riot going on here as torches are lit, saying, telling them to light the... I know I'm diminishing what should be a very important moment here. Saying to light the fires, Luffy looking down at Momonosuke, waiting for the response he wants to hear. And Momo yelling for his mother. And in the background here, you must flee, there's an escape route, everyone flee. And you have Momonosuke grabbing his what is
Kimono?
it called?
Yukata?
Yukata is what I was going to say, yeah. I didn't want to say it and be wrong, because I'm mostly wrong about these things. And then beginning, Luffy, and mustering the courage to say what he's about to say, and we get a brief look at Kaido, eyes again obscured, saying, "Your father is a fool of a lord," and Momonosuke erupts in Kobe-like tears, explaining, "I want to defeat Kaido."
Before you go on, I want to point out here, this is something that I knew when I saw this line that Greg would have a field day with this. In Kaido's speech here, "Your father is a fool of a lord," Oda kind of put in a little joke that would be familiar to like longtime fans of the series in Japan, which is when he says a fool of a lord, he says bakatono, which means, just stupid lord. But a lot of people today in Japan would know bakatono as the name of a character, a comedic character that was played by the comedian Shimura Ken, who is like an old, he's like a veteran, he's probably in his 60s now or something.
He's also the chopstick guy with the nose, right?
Yes, he did the chopstick thing in the nose. He did the, like back in the early days, like some of the very first SBS questions where Luffy was doing a pose called Ain, which is like where you kind of throw out your hands like diagonally in this big exaggerated pose. That's also a Shimura Ken thing. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is totally, Oda was taking that advantage to make a little in joke to, one of his comedy heroes. And the Bakatono, if you ever I'm sure you can probably Google image search this, but he basically he's got like the top knot, and he has like the sort of blue, really thick, like face paint thing with the big lips painted on, and it's a really a very iconic character in Japanese comedy.
So do we think Odin's going to look like him?
That would be the question, I guess.
The rest of the crew that we've seen so far from Wano all look like exaggerated kind of caricatures of Japanese culture, I guess would be the way to put it. So.
The only reason that I would say no is just because I don't think Oda would be that explicit. Like he's not really like South Park, where they just like literally insert a meme wholesale into their episode and just be like, hey, remember this? He would put his own twist on it, I think. But
there might be a reference to it in.
There could be something there, but I don't think it'll look exactly like him.
As we were saying, Momo was crying, explaining he wants to defeat Kaido. Luffy staring at him with resolve, and Momo continues, "Kaido was responsible for my father's death, and his mother too was put to death, and he wants to be an adult. He wants to grow strong. He wants to avenge his parents. He wants to protect his servants." Kinemon at this, also sniffling with his two disproportionately sized eyes. And Cat Viper crying, saying that's all that he wanted to hear, and Dogstorm explaining that he has grown old and sentimental, and to which Cat Viper says to shut up. And Momonosuke finally saying, "I know I'm too small, I know I can't do it, so I want you to help me fight Luffy." And what happens next, Steven?
And he says, he basically is like, look here, I'm getting down on my hands and knees. I am begging you for out. And then Luffy just smacks him in the face with the palm of his hand there while he's trying to grovel on the ground. And Luffy's like, okay, look, I get it. Tell you what, let's team up. We'll form an alliance, and I will take down Kaido for you. And he holds out his hand to to shake on it, basically to make it official. And Momonosuke is like super excited. He has this look on his face like, oh, you will? And then he looks at the hand and he's like, what is this? And he just does the like, he grabs the hand with both of his and is like, oh, I'm not worthy. You are too kind, good sir. And Luffy is really annoyed that he doesn't know. Like, no, you just got to be a man. You just got to wham, just grab it and shake.
Yeah. He's like, haven't you seen Predator?
Yes, exactly. Poor Momo. And the rest of the Straw Hats are looking on in this, kind of paternal satisfaction. Like, that's clearly what they would wish, what they wish for Luffy to do. And Kinemon points out rather wisely that, he may be the one who kind of bickers on Momonosuke's level more than anyone else in terms of like, he's just a little kid. Like, you don't have to get into a serious fight with him. But in a sense, that also means that he's the one who is showing Momonosuke the most respect. He's kind of treating him like an adult more than anyone else. And Dogstorm is like, and there we go. That the pact is formed. They have a shared goal now, and Law is reminding him, okay. And what about our pact, Straw Hat? And Luffy's like, well, I mean, you don't mind, right? This is sort of what we were going to do anyways. And Law's like, well, no, I don't mind, but I mean, still. You didn't ask.
They warned him about this. They warned him back on Punk Hazard.
Mm-hmm.
He formed the alliance anyway.
Yep. And we get a big panel here of, everyone is celebrating and posing. I love, Frankie's doing his thing and Kanjuro looks like he's kind of mimicking him a little bit.
Yeah, it's cute.
And Raizo is just like doing flips in the air. So he looks like a kite.
We'll point out that the dog knows how to shake.
Wait, doesn't?
Well, no, I think that's more of a knuckle.
I think he's giving him a pound.
Yeah, it's a fist pump.
That's how dogs do it.
Isn't Raizo wearing like a kite?
I guess he could be.
Like, isn't it like almost like a ninja thing to do, like to fly via a kite on the wind?
Maybe. I don't know that much about like actual traditional ninjas, but
I have to rewatch it. I'll read it, but I think there's a Rurouni Kenshin character that is like that.
Mm-hmm.
He used the kite in his fighting.
Mm-hmm. But this is, most importantly, this is the formation of the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance. And it seems like a very long and unwieldy title to have. And someone, I'm assuming this is probably either Nami or Robin, is like, do we really need the ninja part? And you can see there's like 5 different arrows leading out of this speech bubble from all the guys going, yes, obviously.
What is that in Japanese?
What is what?
The alliance name.
Like Ninja, Kaizoku, Mink, Samurai.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Alliance.
I thought maybe it would sound...
It's better than Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And Luffy starts, and listen up, don't ever bow your heads to me again. Don't get down on the ground. We're in an alliance. It means we're friends. And Law in the back, wrong!
Wrong!
Kevin Spacey?
Yeah.
No, Dom DeLuise.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing here? This is a closed set.
But Luffy adds on, now that we're in an alliance, there are conditions. What? Should have done this beforehand, as Raizo says. But Luffy brings up, we're missing one of our members. And Cat Piper puts it perfectly. It's the Sanji situation. It's like a sitcom. The Sanji situation.
Really, the Odd Couple theme?
I don't know.
The odd couple is Dogstorm and Cat Piper.
We're cutting.
They got this banter. They got this banter going on here. It's like, oh, he taken by Big Mom. I didn't hear about that. It's like, yeah, well, it happened while you were asleep.
Maybe you shouldn't sleep so much, dog.
Luffy declares he's going to bring him back, so you got to hold off on fighting until then. But Sanji's real tough. Having him is like having the strength of 1,000 men on board. And Dogstorm, says that's good to hear. But you sure this is going to work? Big Mom is one of the 4 emperors. And Luffy's like, they'll be fine. I'm not going to fight her. I'm taking Lion Viper with me. And in the background, Zoro says, well, I'm worth 2,000. And Nami pats his head. Sure you are. That is so great. That's like one of my favorite parts of this chapter.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Zoro taking a page out of Luffy's book with like he's 100 or he's 1,000, then 2,000.
4 sword style.
The Nami response is probably the most like, I feel like there's a lot of gags that are like Japanese only gags, but the head pat and saying sure you are is definitely something that transcends that.
Mm-hmm.
Dogstorm is very confused by Lion Viper. Back at the Guardian's dwelling, Wanda reflects on a day of miracles today has been. And Pedro chimes in, yes, Duke Dogstorm and Boss Cat Viper, they used to be the closest of friends. When they returned from their journey, they were close to death, and they were locked in a struggle. They couldn't even look at each other. They would fight to the death if they did. So what could have even happened between them? Carrot, she wasn't even born yet. Pedro and Wanda were just children at the time. And we go to the next page.
And it's a party. Again. Another party.
Is this number
And
3?
I think so, yeah. Zoe's all sorts of about parties, isn't it?
They're partying like
they're-
Shanks now.
Party. You mean they're party animals?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They're party animals, Brian.
The Straw Hats party like Shanks now, as much as he does.
Well, I mean, we kind of deserve this many parties after what
Right,
Dressrosa
after
was.
Dressrosa,
Yeah. It's been 3 years. We got to make up for lost time with parties.
Yeah. So the
Let's get drunk. Sorry, go ahead.
So the drinks, the Minks of the day and the Minks of the night are reunited, and they're celebrating the reconciliation of the 2 kings.
They're reunited and they feel so good.
Yes, and now they can wake up and go to sleep whenever we want. So, they might just end up just keeping the same patterns. And of course, they've started the party and wondering if the Straw Hats are there yet. And we pan out from
Way out.
way out. We can see the entire elephant, the entirety of Zunisha, and it's a whole mess of ships. Kind of Jack's ships. You can tell because we have visual confirmation, Master Jack, and he says, "Yeah, I can see that."
Is that what that is?
So you're telling me that's a giant elephant?
Yeah.
No,
Really.
no, this is the giant mastodon. The giant elephant is east that way.
I love the translation of the sound effect there at the bottom of the page. It's like you're calling out our buddy Greg. And he remarks to think that he'd have to come back to Zoe. So we've got in the next panel, Sheephead is chained and upside down, kind of being batted around a little bit by Jack, saying, I didn't expect when you returned that you would tell me that Raizo was not there. And there is Sheepshead all bloodied and beaten up from when Sanji messed him up pretty bad. And he explains that the Minks are very hardy. What if some of them escape the ghast and then nurse their fellow Minks back to health? Jinrami says we can't tell Master Jack that even if we were driven out someone. She's thinking this, obviously.
They were driven out, yeah.
Yeah, and no matter what, we can't tell Jack this, or else we'll all die, basically.
Better just Sheepshead dies than me and him.
Yeah, well, he's already like halfway there anyway.
That dude
Might as
sucks.
well.
Yeah, he wasn't a very cool guy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
fuck
he's
that
never
guy.
gonna appear again, Zach. This is his last appearance.
Right.
This is One Piece. Nobody ever sticks around.
Do you know the one way that you could, never show up again in One Piece? If you're Rockstar. That's it. You have to be Rockstar or else you show up again. That's it.
or Captain Kuro.
Captain Kuro had more than one chapter.
Well, so Jack remarks, if you have them on the ropes, then finish them off for good. Mercy only breeds annoying vengeance. One of the underlings, at this point, the double horns, they were the gifters, right? Or the pleasures? I don't remember at this point.
I don't know.
Haven't seen them yet.
Just
black double horns are gifters.
Okay,
we
yeah.
only see the one there. I don't know. The crazy smile on his face. I think these are the pleasures, because it sort of looks like them in the background of the panel at the top.
Yeah.
I see a lot of one horns.
So one of the underlings says, either way, they're weakened regardless. If we can invade, we'll just wipe them out. And Jack cuts him off. Oh, there's no need to invade them. We'll just kill the elephant. Dun dun dun.
Huh?
Good reactions, guys. Let's go around the horn. What do you guys think of this chapter, Steven?
A really cool chapter. Like, I think, it's hard to top the previous chapter in terms of just sort of bombshell information. But I think this is actually, it's a really good follow-up, because it's like every page, we're setting up big stuff. They're filling in the blanks around these big revelations that we just had. Now we have a better picture of the situation with Wano and how the Straw Hats are going to fit into this. Basically they've been given the rationale to take up the quest of Wano, which is obviously not a surprise, but now it's out in the open. It's kind of more formalized the relationship between Luffy and the Straw Hats and Momonosuke and the samurai. And so that was cool. There's a lot of good character stuff, a lot of good in the crew jokes that got done. The one thing that really stuck out to me, and we didn't really stop to think about this, was the I wouldn't say ominous, but the clearly like portentous revelation right before the end of the chapter, where they just happened to mention, oh, hey, that time how Dogstorm and Cat Viper were like best friends, and then they left on that big journey, and then they came back, and then they were like super antagonistic. Yeah, I remember that was funny, huh? I bet that's not going to be important. That was really interesting to me, because it makes me wonder, given that we know that they were with Oden, they served Oden, and that he was on Roger's ship. Does that mean that they were as well? Like, does that have something to do with Roger's journey? Something that they experienced while they were on that ship? That is really exciting to me. Like, I'm very curious about that.
It makes sense. Yeah, go ahead, Bryan.
Oh yeah, well, I was just buttress that they know Shanks.
Mm-hmm.
That was something Dogstorm pointed out the second he met Luke.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
True. Mm-hmm. And then basically, it's just like before we get too comfortable with the whole, like, okay, well, now we know what we need to do with Wano, and now we can go figure out what to do with Sanji, and Jack is basically just going to push the agenda here by speeding this whole process along. Claiming to kill the elephants. Basically, you're going to force them into a sudden move, I think, and that is also rather unpredictable, I think, but exciting stuff.
Dude, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a very good chapter. I was kind of expecting it to go this way, them forming an official alliance, and I'm very anxious to learn more about Wano, and I wonder exactly, how long it'll be before we do get to know more. Naturally, we're probably going to be getting a flashback at some point. Usually when Oda teases flashbacks like this, he delivers at some point a full one. Not to mention, I think at least before the arc is over, we're going to get an explanation as to why Cat, Viper, and Dogstorm aren't friendly towards each other, since they brought it up yet again. Because obviously this isn't a complete reconciliation, and the Minks are constantly bringing up the fact that they don't like each other. So that's got to be something that I was going to touch on. The one part in the in the chapter that soured me was Luffy, of course, again bringing up that he's going to go get Sanji alone with Peckham's, and I'm still like crossing my fingers and hoping that
I have a
it's
crazy
a group
theory.
effort. But hold on,
Okay,
hold
about
on.
just
Hold on.
concerning that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Put a pin in that for just a sec.
Okay, I'll try.
But Jack is kind of the wild card here. I honestly didn't expect him to show back up. I thought we were just going to be, this was just going to be pretty cut and dry, but this is going to complicate things. Either Jack is going to actually take down the elephant, or they're all going to fight Jack. And I think that that might throw a wrench in Luffy's plans to go get Sanji alone, maybe? I don't know. But what's your theory, Zach?
I'm gonna go with the third way here. I don't really think Luffy and everyone up in Zou is gonna necessarily be able to get down there and defeat them. Maybe, I don't know. I think the elephant dying or getting hurt in some way may be more probable, but my crazy out of left field idea would be Sanji and Big Mom and some sort of huge crew coming in and colliding here at Zou with Jack's crew.
Wait, what? But why would Big Mom and Sanji be in that mix though?
Because it's weird, it's unpredictable, and I have no real explanation for it. But I think, I don't know, it's just like something is drawing me to the idea that how long has it been since Sanji's left? I mean, it's been
like a couple chapters. Well, here's the thing,
couple
though.
days, though. I mean, in actual time.
Right, but look, Oda's not going to set up this big wedding crashing bit and having Sanji go off on his own, only to have him come back a couple chapters later and miss all these revelations.
That also implies that, like in Zach's theory, Sanji would have gotten married, maybe even formed the alliance with Big Mom, and is now coming back to help out the Straw Hats. Which, yeah, I agree with Dude. We're going to see this wedding,
or I guess
we see anything else.
I mean, I'm not necessarily, the alliance thing is my super left field thing, but maybe Sanji's just gonna show up. I don't know, or so I feel like someone or a third party may show up here to intervene. Maybe not Sanji, maybe someone else, but it's just because I don't feel like the people on Zou are in the position to fight the people down in the water there, since they're separated geographically.
They're either gonna fight or they're gonna run. I mean, like, I can't think of any other scenario here. Like, unless the Marines show up, but how would the Marines get to Zou in the first place? Maybe following Jack. I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of some crazy out of left field ideas. Anyway, Alex, anything else that you wanted to?
No, that's fine. I'm good. I need the next chapter badly though, because this is completely unexpected.
Yeah, I agree.
And unfortunate.
Bryan.
Yeah, this chapter was good. It was okay. Like Steven said, the previous chapter and even the chapter before that were just so big. Like, oh, actually, the last 3 chapters have been really awesome. And so this is the chapter to kind of calm us down, like get us back on focus of what the ultimate next arcs are going to be about, like rescuing Sanji, dealing with Wano and Kaido. So, and Jack's back. So I'm all down with that. It was nice to get a little bit, and we'll get this when we actually get to this point in the anime, what Lord Odin's voice might actually sound like, and the conditions in which Momonosuke and Clan left Wano were also really good. Thinking about it, because I have a buddy who's catching up to One Piece, and he's in Punk Hazard right now. It's been so long since we actually got introduced to the concept of samurai in One Piece, as far as Kinemon and Momonosuke, that I'm like, man, this has been a long time coming with the relationship of Luffy and Momonosuke, since Luffy got dumped in that trash dump area in Punk Hazard. So it's been a long time, and it's nice to kind of see their relationship grow in this direction.
I mean, it's only been like a week for them, but sure.
Yeah, sure.
And they didn't see each other for most of those days. Ed, what do you think?
This is a big chapter for small moments, I think. Especially as we were talking about the good humor in Nami and Usopp knocking Luffy around, Nami patting Zoro on the head, and even the little bigger things like the way Luffy treats Momonosuke like he's an adult. He treats him like an equal, which I really love. That's a good little character moment. I'm curious to see more about Kaido because we got like one line out of him this chapter. And I'm kind of hoping he's voiced by Norio Wakamoto in the anime, just to bring him back. He is my favorite actor, after all. And then also between Dogstorm and Cat Viper is like calling him, old and sentimental, and we referencing their history together. So we're definitely setting up for some flashbacks, and it's this chapter is sort of like what One Piece is all about, like forming alliances and doing things for your friends, and also having funny moments in the background too. And Jack is just looming over all of it, like what happens when the elephant dies? Like what do you do? What do you do then?
That's kind of the issue I'm running into. It's like, where will everyone go? It's where will all the minks go?
I mean, maybe it'll crash into Wano.
There could be an elephant
graveyard.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You got it.
Right. Steve, what are your thoughts?
I actually enjoyed this chapter. It really got me excited for what's to come in the story. We're kind of, we have another alliance going on here, but it has so much potential going for it. Considering Kaido has this huge army of Zoan type Devil Fruit users, and also he's an asshole, so it just makes the motivation and better. And I really look forward to seeing these guys throw down. And I'm really hoping the minks get involved as well, which it seems like it's going to be the case. Like, do you think the minks are going to leave Zoe to help out?
Yeah, I think they will.
I think some might. I don't think they.
Yeah.
Well, if the
Not
elephant
every
gets
part of the
defeated,
alliance.
yeah, I don't know.
But some great Luffy gags. Like I said, I really enjoyed those panels of him getting beat up. Really funny stuff. Momonosuke, we're going to see a lot more of his backstory in the future. I always, every time I see Kinemon and Momonosuke, I always think back to the last character poll, the most recent one that Oda did, and I always remember Steven pointing out how unpopular Kinemon and Momonosuke were. I'm curious, I'm curious if the fans will get more invested in these characters now that they're not just, we are the Japanese people.
Speaking of character popularity, that reminds me. God, when Kinemon mentioned Luffy, I have a request. Oh, and you too, Law.
Yeah.
Like you can't go 2 seconds without talking about Law. He's Poochie. It's when Poochie's not on screen, we need the characters to say, "Hey, where's Poochie?"
Actually found that funnier because he was treating Law like an afterthought, which is what he should be, even though he's a captain too, and it is the Straw Law Alliance.
I interpret it more as Law's like, oh wait, I never said I'd take part in this.
Yeah, well now he has
it's totally like throwing Law in the back seat.
Now it's like he always has to be mentioned. Is that what you're saying? It's like,
yeah, well, because he needs something
to
do now. Like Law literally has nothing else to do because Doflamingo's defeated. That's it. His story's pretty much done.
No, but remember, Law's not a Straw Hat crew member. By default, Frankie, Nami, and Zoro would come along for when he asks a request of Luffy. But he's like, "Oh yeah, you're a captain. I should address this to you as well."
No. I'm not debating that validity. I'm just saying, it's very clear that Oda's, Law's popular now. I guess I guess they did form an alliance against Kaido in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable that Law gets addressed.
Sure. It's just that where Law is going. I thought that initially that he signed up with Luffy for this alliance. The Kaido thing, that was basically just a way to get Luffy to agree to help him defeat Doflamingo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't want it to. Yeah, I mean, he wanted Doflamingo defeated by Kaido. So it wasn't
so bad. It's not like Luffy, we need your help. Oh, and you too, Law, and you as well, Boba Fett, and you, Optimus Prime. It's like,
I think he is going to find some story justification to have Law go on his way like pretty soon. Like it could be even by the end of Zoe. I would not be surprised at all, because I do think it is true. You know, like his Law's story was the story of Law and Corazon and Doflamingo, and that's over now. And so there is not as much of a like character story left to tell with him.
I'm gonna kind of.
I mean, I do hope that he sticks around a little bit longer, because we still haven't seen too much of his crew, and I like them a lot.
mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the complete opposite, just because I'm being contrarian here, but also because it seems like we're accumulating people at this point, and there's a good reason to accumulate people, and that's because we're headed toward the end. And the end is, as we promised, probably going to be this huge war with a ton of everyone we've seen in the series fighting each other. But think about what's been going on. We've had the Grand Fleet Alliance. We've had this alliance. Everyone from Zoe. I think it's going to be weird to start seeing. I mean, people might break off, but they're going to probably come back sooner rather than later. I don't know when. I think the people of Zoe, since they seem intimately involved in Wano, would probably be joining them sooner. So I don't know. I see things ramping up less than splitting off. Although Sanji left, so who the hell knows?
Yeah, and with Jack being back, maybe we're back in that Zoe ending poll. that gamble we're playing.
See, I don't know about that. Simply because, but of course, Oda has been known at Jump Festa to kind of jump the gun a little bit. But this is the year of Sanji. I mean, this can't be the year of Sanji if Sanji doesn't show up again for the rest of the year, and he's not a huge focal point.
But then that also brings credence to Zach's theory. if there's a big long Zoe battle and Sanji shows up like halfway through it, but no, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think if this battle is going to be a battle, it's just going to be short and sweet.
So anyway, the rest of my opinions.
No one cares.
Did you have other things?
I'm actually really excited for where the story's gonna be going. I'm glad it was still brought up, like, oh, Luffy's still going on his own to get Sanji. I'm not a fan of that, but I think after this chapter, I am convinced that Big Mom is gonna be an ally. There's gonna be a scuffle, and I think they're gonna butt heads. But I think when all's said and done, I think Big Mom might align herself with the Straw Hats. For some reason, I got the sense just of where like this is going, because I think this war with Kaido is gonna be huge. And maybe it's some sort of trick. You know, they might trick Big Mom into alliance. I don't know. I just have this sense right now, because the way Kaido is being introduced compared to how Big Mom and her pirate crew have been introduced, I don't get the same sense that they're the bad guys.
Especially with Baron Tamago and Peckham's are kind of weird.
Especially with Peckham's. Like, if they were bad guys, like Luffy would just like, let me go back with you. I think the bad guys of this, this Whole Cake Island, wedding arc, it's not Big Mom and her pirate crew. It's the Vinsmokes and Capone. They're the bad guys. I foresee an alliance coming. Other than that, I think the page when Jack's fleet shows up at Zoe is beautiful. This is a fantastically rendered page. So much intricate details on those pirate ships. It looks great amongst that choppy water. Fantastic looking page. I'm super excited that Jack is back, because it just means we have this huge battle that's going to go down at Zoe. But now the Minks have some heavy artillery, because we have the Straw Hats there and we have the Heart Pirates there, and this is going to be some shit.
Also the secret weapon that
that's right.
Minks were mentioning as well.
Yeah,
whatever that may be.
That might involve the full moon that they kept talking about.
You think?
Well, it's already
Yeah, I
gone.
think
If that's the case, and it's not coming back for a
Well,
month because that's how full moons work.
But that may have to do mainly with the Wano arc, not this arc.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the minks under the light of a full moon will become were things?
Giant apes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I think that rounds us off for the manga recap. You guys ready for some piece together?
Yeah.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, your comments, and your theories. Why don't we start with Tijuana, Mexico? This is from Julio, who says, I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of hearing people say that Blackbeard will kill Shanks in the future. We know how Blackbeard is a backstabber and a cheater, but I just don't see Shanks falling for Blackbeard's traps. I mean, we don't know how strong Shanks is, but we could assume that he's up there with Blackbeard, Kaido, and Big Mom, so I personally think that he'll be fine in that battle. What do you guys think? I haven't heard that one.
That's not the battle that's impending right now.
No.
That's too far off to even think about. Like, Burgess is on Baltigo and Blackbeard is going there. So you can't really talk about much until like you talk about that.
Yeah. I'm actually just really worried that Blackbeard is going to shit stomp everybody at the revolutionary camp.
I don't think it's going to be that. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that simple.
Oh, well, Blackbeard has to win it though to get the weapons. I mean, the setup of those weapons is what's going to propel Blackbeard into greater strength and heights.
Yep.
So we go to Tijuana to Joe from California. He said, have you put any thoughts into powers or abilities you'd like to see the Straw Hats have at the end of the series? For example, he thinks it's probable that all of the Straw Hats didn't get pushed to their limits at Dressrosa and have a few tricks up their sleeve, including Robin maybe using her clutch move on a giant, or maybe even make a giant version of herself that knocks out something humongous. Or Brooke maybe possessing objects and controlling them remotely. What do you guys think?
Those would all be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd just like to see Robin do something.
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah.
I would guess they're probably two big power ups, which is maybe one against Kaido, like kind of putting them when the crew itself kind of rises to the level of the Four Emperors, and then one for whatever the final arc is, when Oda really just kind of clears that head clearinghouse of all the battle ideas that he still has left. That's my guess.
Nami definitely has to be like Storm from X-Men by the end of the series.
Yeah.
Okay, next question comes from Milo. He has two for us. First one, if there was a sitcom about Law and Rob Lucci's sharing an apartment called Lucci and Pucci, would you watch it?
Wow.
The Killjoy gags write themselves, he continues.
That would be like
Yeah.
that's like the literal worst pairing ever.
Like that sounds like the most boring fucking show.
But with the best
Who's all on
name.
the show again?
Lucci and Pucci.
Oh God.
Law and Lucci.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Neither of them are
it's
happy.
Law and Lucci. Oh my God, nothing would happen.
It would be like Ron Swanson and Kevin from The Office. Like they're just, hey, what's up?
The most
I
humorless
was gonna
show
go-
in the entire world.
I was gonna go get tacos. You want to come?
This
No.
fall on NBC.
And then they'd make 20 figures of each of them shirtless. And yeah, they have tits for some reason. Yeah. And
Second
Yeah, no,
question. These days, Toei Animation seems to put out a feature film for One Piece around once every 3 years. As Film Gold is set to release this summer, do you think that it's likely that the next film would coincide with the 20th anniversary? I think that is possible. Although they celebrate anime anniversaries with the movie, so that would be 2019.
Yeah, no, that makes that would line up, I guess.
Where were we?
Yeah.
16. It
Some
could be
good arithmetic
2019, or it could be. It won't be next year. Is the anniversary for the manga, the 20th? But so I don't think it's going to make that. But probably the 20th, for the anime, right?
Yeah. It's plausible.
Sounded like you combined the words plausible and possible. Next one comes from Liam Tasker, who says, my theory is that the wedding of Sanji and Pudding will go just fine. They'll be happily married. Luffy and Big Mom will work everything out, and the Straw Hats and Big Mom Pirates will form a strong relationship that benefits them both. And to celebrate this arrangement, Big Mom will open the Tamatobacco box that Luffy sent her, which the Minister of the Right filled with explosives. It will explode in her face. She'll raise her fist to the sky and shout, I'll get you for this, Straw Hats! And the Straw Hat versus Big Mom Pirates battle will begin.
I kind of like that.
Sounds a lot like our manga recap just then.
About, yeah. Any other? I guess that one speaks for itself.
It's a very sound theory.
It's an explosive one. The next question comes from James Welsh. What would you think the odds of Zunesha surviving through this be? Put a number 1 to 10. 10 being that he will survive, 1 being that he'll die. I'll give you that. Make it a little easier.
I'd say about 9.
6.
10 being
10
that he will survive, yeah.
That he'll survive or die?
He'll survive 10, he'll die 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Normally I'm on the side of death. But...
7 or 8, just because I feel like the Minx will need to do that, like to protect it, to get back at Jack for, because he already wrecked their city. So I feel like they have some vengeance to do.
Next one comes from Connor. Are any of you excited for the return of Hunter x Hunter? Have you guys seen the anime or read the manga? For those who don't know, William kind of broke the news on our Twitter to a lot of people out there that Hunter x Hunter is coming back for, let's say, a week or two. What do you guys think?
I've read the manga, and by read, I mean like 11 years ago. I have not read the manga in so long, and I've never watched either anime series, but been meaning to. But it just seems like it's getting into a relationship that's only going to hurt my feelings,
Yeah, it's pretty much Hunter x Hunter.
I read the first volume of it a while back. It wasn't bad.
Well, that's it for emails if you want to go to Reddit.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. We will start with SD Custer, who asks, if there is a subscription-based admittance into Skypiea, would it be called Amazon Prime?
Oh my God.
Yes.
I get that.
Good for you,
This is
Brian.
accurate.
This is like a Disneyland park pass that we're talking about. You get a certain number of tickets per month or something.
Is that how it works? It's not like a season
Well,
pass
it's a
thing?
yearly thing. I don't know. Never had one of those.
Wait, wouldn't
anyways.
Amazon Prime be for Amazon Lily?
Oh.
Oh, right.
There you go.
Seems just like a death sentence.
Snoo. Continue.
All right. Wasabi Fold asks, what are your guys' thoughts on how we bring down Kaido? In my opinion, Oda is going to do a worst generation team up with Kid, Apu, Hawkins, Luffy, Law, Drake, and a small possibility of the other 3. That's why Oda had Kaido land in front of that alliance. After they escape Kaido, they will have a motivation to help Luffy and Law beat him.
I say Luffy punches it really hard. There's like a 90% chance of that, because that's how every big villain goes down in One Piece.
A big
I mean,
punch.
there's
We're
like,
also-
yeah.
Yeah, but we're also assuming that Kid and those guys didn't join with Kaido.
Right.
Because they're after Shanks, not Kaido.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And Drake already works with Kaido, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Drake's going to be joining that. Maybe eventually at the very end. I also, I don't know if Kaido's going to be the one to fit the mold that this person's putting forward.
Right.
But Gecko Moria kind of
that's
was
what-
defeated in, the team up way, and I think it would be very cool to see the Supernovas at one point team up against a big villain. I think maybe maybe not Blackbeard.
Blackbeard
But,
in the end.
yeah,
In the
could
end,
s-
Blackbeard, I think they'll all be on board.
You think
Yeah.
just the entire world versus Blackbeard?
Yeah.
It's the new Scott Pilgrim movie coming out soon. What's next?
Next is from Super Dubes, who says, about a month ago, I made a YouTube video talking about the different laughs of One Piece, specifically favorite and least favorite laughs. So if you had to pick one that you hate and one that you love, what would they be?
Oh, that's easy. I hate horo horo horo. That's Piranha's laugh, and I love shahaha, which is Arlong's laugh.
Ed?
I always like Saul's a lot.
Yeah.
But for what I don't like, especially in the Japanese, it didn't bother me as much in English, was fos fos fos. I don't know why I like that more in English.
You like that more in English because the voice actor in English is one of the greatest people on earth, and
that's true.
Your friend likes
Jack's
to
got a
sleep.
man crush.
I do. He's the funniest human being on the face of the earth. Okay. Steven, do you?
He brings over steel chips.
I always say my sort of underdog favorite is Brogy's, the ba 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 one.
Is that Daisuke Gori?
I have no idea.
That's Brogy, yeah.
Dory
That's a good one.
Dory is Daisuke Gori, so it's the Gia.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
And, I always remember that it's Dory and Brogy likes Hubba Bubba bubblegum, so that's how you remember.
I'll totally remember that.
Hagaba.
Hagabapa.
Ba, ba.
Steve, what's your
Yeah.
favorite? Unless Steven, did you have more?
No, I don't really have a least favorite, so go ahead, Steve.
Oh, is it least favorite or favorite?
Both.
Alex did mention Arlong's. Arlong's is one of my favorites. I really like Eneru's and Foxy's. Least favorite? I never really thought about it too much, so I don't think I could give you a good answer. Well, there was that one guy in that filler before Dressrosa.
Oh
who,
God,
That's terrible.
that's a good pick.
that wins.
How does it
laugh
go?
with
No, don't do
pedo.
it. He did it. Brian, do you have?
Yeah, I don't really have a least favorite, but if I had to pick someone, it would probably be I think it's Miss Valentine's, like her, yeah. They're like, yeah, or yeah. And I find myself doing Moria's laugh a lot, so he might be one of my favorites. The Kishishi. Kishishi.
All right, enough.
I think we found Steve's least
I think we
favorite.
found Steve's least.
There we go.
I love Moria. Moria's
Three
awesome.
of the least favorite from the same arc.
I think for my most favorite, Blackbeard, I think needs to be mentioned. It's a great laugh.
I forgot.
But purely because of Dude, Shiki. Purely because of Dude.
Oh yeah, Shiki has a fantastic laugh.
Also, just
He does.
imagining that with all the candy and the. Anyway. What's
Baby kicks.
Next is from Joey Joestar, who has a question about the animated cover stories. Cover stories are unique to One Piece. You know, they let Oda show the reader what has happened to some of our favorite side characters and set them up to return to the story at a later point in time. But we've only had Buggies and Kobe's in the anime proper, none of the others. Do you think it's a lost opportunity of the anime to not include them in the series, or are they just not especially needed to explain how and why certain characters are in certain places? This came to mind since I just finished Skypiea in the anime and thought it was weird for anime-only watchers to wonder where Eneru found those robots for when he eventually comes back. And I'm not saying to go back and add past cover stories because we're past the point of them being relevant, but Jinbei's could happen.
I think we've answered why they don't happen, and it's mostly because the Straw Hats aren't in it, and attention, they say, goes down. I don't think that's true. I think that's been proven otherwise. But also they pay
Well, that was a long time ago, too.
Well, they also pay the Straw Hat actors, I think, no matter what. So it's
That's
kind
probably
of,
the bigger issue.
yeah. So it's like if you're gonna pay them, why would you have a bunch of episodes that don't have them in it? So that's, I think, the main reason. I think it's a
But it's
huge
absolutely-
loss. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you.
it's a lost cause. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a lost cause. It's sad that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I do think though that they don't need them in order to tell, okay, this character appeared here. Like, that's stuff that's pretty easy to do. You could even just like have a real quick like 30-second recap. Oh, I just did this and with that and it was a crazy time, and then you're all caught up essentially. But yeah, in terms of like telling the whole story, it is a shame. For sure.
Yeah, it's less rewarding too, because remember like when we saw Buggy and Kobe's like side stories, and when they come back into the series, it's like, okay, you spent some time involving yourself with these side stories for the twist and reveal that not just when they come back into the series, but whatever they discover in those side stories, like the alliance they formed with Garp and the alliance Buggy formed with Alvida, and with this one with Jinbei, he's got a poneglyph with him.
Yeah, I think
and they'll found all that moon stuff.
And Eneru's is I think the most happened there, I think, too. Jinbei's actually might end up being, pretty critical at some point, so we'll find out. Although I think if he just shows up with a poneglyph, everyone would be like, okay, I guess that makes sense. What's next?
Next is from Sun Pirate 63, who says, I was recently thinking about the long-lasting friendship between Noland and Kalgara back in the Skypiea arc, and was wondering what your favorite friendship relationships throughout the series. I'm self-censoring there. Thanks for the great podcast. So your favorite friendships, your close relationships throughout the series that are not the Straw Hats, I'm guessing.
You're sure there's no other word for that?
I don't know. It's untranslatable.
Okay.
Romance.
Yeah. Well, that's easy for me. Django and Full Body. Number one.
That's a good one.
Actually, Nolan and
Ro-
Kalgara has to be one, right?
Roger and Rayleigh is hinted at.
Nolan and Kalgara was in the question.
That was the example.
Yeah, I was saying like that has to be one. Yeah, so I'll think of my own soon. Please continue. Did someone else answer? I'm thinking.
I feel like there was a bromance recently in the manga, and it's just like I can't think of it at all.
Well, it's weird because it was like Law and Corazon.
That's
like
not
a father-son relationship.
Yeah. I think we're in the middle of getting a really good one with Cat Viper and Dogstorm.
Yeah, definitely.
So, we can't include any Straw Hats, or was it just
no
Straw Hats?
No Straw Hats.
Mm-hmm.
Michael and Hoikel.
Oh, those two are tight.
Inseparable.
From the Backstreets?
They said, fuck it. Might as well name him Hoikel.
Actually, well, speaking of Michael and Hoikel, I really do enjoy the relationship of Paulie with Iceberg. Paulie's such an underrated character. Really enjoy him.
Wanted him to join the crew for a long time.
Even Frankie and Iceberg, which is, I guess, that's kind of a brotherly. They grew up.
I would have said Frankie and Iceberg, but we can't include any of the Straw Hats. So.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's tough.
It's a good question.
Anyway,
Yeah.
if a props
I despite it leading to one of the most dragged out scenes in the history of One Piece, I did like the whole Bellamy and Doflamingo connection. I thought it was a good story that just had a very anticlimactic ending.
It's a very one-sided relationship, though.
Yeah, it's not really.
Oh, I liked the whole story behind it. I just didn't like that.
That's just
like I didn't think Bellamy was going to die. Maybe the story could have benefited from him dying, but what I didn't appreciate was them just hanging out in a cabin and Bellamy's like, "Oh, hey, I'm here too. Can I have a Vivre card, please?"
I'm curious. I think Rayleigh and Roger, we don't know much about them yet, but the way that at least Rayleigh has reminisced about it, the little we've seen, I have a feeling that's going to be a good bromance going on there.
Yeah, I miss Johnny and Yosaku.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck.
That's an easy one. That's an easy one.
Yeah. And I'm surprised you guys didn't pull Brogy and Dory.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one too.
Moji and Richie.
Wow.
I did enjoy the chemistry I did enjoy the chemistry between Hiroluk and Kureha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah.
a good one.
The more you think about it, the more good examples.
There are many
Yeah.
others I am positive
Mhm.
we are forgetting here. Yeah. Hannibal and Magellan. I think they have.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
They're frenemies. Yeah, they're kind of frenemies.
Frenemies.
But they have that deep respect for each other, and at the same time, one wants the other's position. Yeah, I think Magellan definitely is a
Buggy and
big-
Yeah.
Buggy and Mr. 3 while we're at it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good. Yeah, the anime kind of kills it, but yeah, that's a good one. Okay, we got to move on.
All right. Gentleman Bastard has a couple questions. I'm just going to pick one, and I like this first one specifically for Zach and Ed. If the Straw Hats were lawyers, what type of law would they specialize in?
Trafalgar
Well,
Law.
allow me to answer.
I think Dude wins this. I can't beat that. No, Steve, do you?
No, please allow me.
Why don't we just let Ed and Zach answer these?
Why don't we let
Is
Ed
Nami-
know?
Is Nami just like
Hey.
a pat troll or something? Like she just
She's
basically
looking
rips
for money.
people off?
Well, first
Yeah.
off, they're pirates, so it's what laws are they breaking? I feel like would probably be more accurate. I don't see any of. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed. I don't see any of the Straw Hats aspiring to be lawyers.
No one
They're all
really
terrible
does
lawyers.
No. Very few people do aspire to do that.
Robin could be a lawyer very easily.
that. Sure. Yes.
Isn't there an like archaeological? There is something related to like.
Archaeological law.
It belongs in a museum. That's the
There's
law.
like an antiquities like legal field. I feel like, right? Is that
probably.
something I'm making up? There's maritime law. That's great for Nami.
There's law for everything.
There's law for everything.
Nami and Frankie.
Chopper obviously would be involved in some malpractice lawsuits.
Okay.
Bandages.
Yeah.
All he did was put bandages on me, Doctor. Your Honor,
Judge.
Mr.
Shut up,
Judge.
Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Judge.
Well, Brooke
funny.
is obviously like music, entertainment law.
Or wrongful
Contracts
death.
and all that
It's a
stuff.
wrongful death.
Wrongful
suit.
death.
Can you sue after you're dead? I think the claim is moot.
Zoro would go into consumer products, like defective products for compasses or something.
or swords. Or he would just be in criminal law for cutting people.
That's right. Sanji be like a divorce lawyer.
Or sexual harassment.
Yeah, sexual harassment, Sanji.
Perjury or something. Slang.
Yeah, Usopp. They're all the crimes they'd be committing, not the
Yeah.
lawyers they'd be.
Usopp would constantly be moving for a bad court thingy.
Yeah, but I imagine they're asking this question as if like the Straw Hats were like Better Call Saul. If you guys have seen that,
Mhm.
Like Ace Attorney.
it's like turning their greatest like hustle into their greatest strength.
Or the greatest lawyer of our generation, Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Mm.
I don't know, Frankie. I don't know. The ability to not.
Copyright, maybe.
I don't know. Unsafe at any speed.
Yeah. It's like building code violations.
Yeah.
That's basically kind of what I do. I don't know. Who else are we missing? I think that's everyone, right?
Yeah. I think that's everyone.
I'm sure that's not, but we could move on.
I think we missed Luffy.
He would never, ever be a lawyer.
No, Luffy would be like a trial attorney. He just go up
I
and
thought
make the
he-
opening,
No, he would
opening
not.
statement.
This guy's innocent.
Isn't
Just
there-
look at him.
Shouldn't there be like a law for like meat? Like someone who's like that's a meat
No, that's a meat
inspector.
inspector.
Sorry, not a lawyer.
You're thinking of a meat inspector.
Boy.
Oh, he'd
Alright, let's move-
be in the Innocence Project. He'd be trying to. I think that is actually something Luffy.
Things
Oh,
got far
should
too
do.
serious.
A very serious version of Luffy. Well, because I think injustices piss him off, and I think that's why he would do that. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. God Usopp the Brave says he's calling it now. If Blackbeard truly wants to be the Pirate King, he obviously needs copies of all the road poneglyphs. And more importantly, he'll need a translator. I think Robin will be taken hostage and Luffy will trade the coordinates for her safety. Thoughts?
last week he said he's going to follow them. I think that's it. I don't think he needs any of them. He'll just like wait and he'll stalk until they get them all.
Yeah.
And then he'll follow them.
I don't want to see Robin get kidnapped again. So I
Yeah,
don't
that's the
want that
thing.
happen.
Right.
It's just wishful thinking. So I just didn't want to think about it possibly happening.
Yeah, I feel like that was just addressed because, it's something that needed to be addressed. Like, oh, well, you're obviously the only person in this world who can read the poneglyph, so this is going to be, like, there's going to be a huge target on your back. So just so you know, I
Right.
feel like that's something that just, that seems like an SBS question that was waiting to happen. Almost.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, before the threat was that, oh, she's in danger from the government because you're not supposed to be able to read these things. And I think now we've been given the justification for why pirates would want to go after her. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get an abduction arc again with her. But whatever it is, Blackbeard is going to get to Raftal with the Straw Hats in some capacity, I feel like, because he's the central villain. Anyways, next, Starboy says, hey, OPP, apologies if this has been asked before, but I haven't been around very long. Excuse me, how do you think the Straw Hats would handle fighting the Predator?
The Predator.
Ooh.
Well, obviously, they would suffer like a lot of damage from this fight. Predator is a pretty skilled hunter, so I think they would get a lot of injuries. That's why they would have to get to the chopper.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Zoro doesn't have time to bleed.
Fantasy
All right.
casting.
And the other part of his question, how are all of you doing lately? Not many ask how you are doing outside of this. Well, that's such a sweet question. Somebody who finally asks how we're feeling.
Yeah.
I'm
Other
good.
than Zach at the top of every episode.
I do
It's more of a
ask you all
formality.
No, it's not.
Zach,
I
how are
really,
you doing, Zach?
I'm really
Feeling
curious. I'm okay, I guess.
Anyway,
All right,
thanks,
there you go.
thanks, Starboy. I'm feeling great. Now that you asked me, that's a nice thing. What a lovely person.
Next. Oh.
No, we,
did you want to go to, Steve? I didn't know.
Steve, I thought you were on the phone. You don't really need to answer this question, do you?
Well, to be honest, Starboy, I haven't been that great lately. See, everyone's picking on me. I don't have anyone I could turn to.
Okay, let's go to the next question.
Maybe you and the Captain of Outer Space can help me out sometime.
Yeah, Steve, you're a great, good-looking go-getter. I just felt like I needed to tell you that. So
What does
maybe
that?
you should.
What does that mean?
Well, maybe you
does
should
that
go
mean?
get me some. You should get me some lemonade.
Black Northwind asks, hello, OPP. Ace has visited Wano country, so could it be possible that he met Lord Odin? Did he? Where was the...
Yeah,
You
he
learned how to
learned-
make the hats of
Yeah,
Wano
learn how to
Country.
make the hat at Wano.
right.
Possibly
Yeah, he
at
possible.
Wano, or possibly just from someone who was from Wano.
Yeah, I mean, like if Wano is like Japan and that there are many daimyos, then that there's a strong possibility that he did not meet Odin.
Yeah, but I also feel like just for story, like consolidation purposes, I feel like that would be a weirdly complicated wrinkle to enter if that was going to be, if Ace having been there is going to come up. I feel like it's just sort of inevitable that it'll have something to do with the guy that story is going to be centered around. Anyways, next he also asks, was Roger in Skypia before or after he was in Raftel?
I'd say
felt like
before.
Yeah.
definitely before, because he had Odin on his crew.
Although what he wrote on the poneglyph kind of implies that he knew what was gonna, what it was, and potentially the secret of the world. So
Did Rayleigh
Oh, that's
mention
true.
that Roger could read the poneglyphs?
no, he just said
No,
he
he
could hear the
couldn't.
voice of all things.
Of all things.
Right.
And Natsu Rayleigh specifically said Roger could not read the poneglyph.
Mm-hmm.
He told Robin that. which suggested
Right.
that it's Odin, or Odin's the one responsible for like both reading the text and potentially writing it as well.
Right. Interesting.
Our next question is from Wonka355, who says, during the last podcast, you all talked a lot about the coming end to One Piece and what was left to see and do in the story, but we didn't really talk about the different Straw Hats' dreams and how they would play out. Certain ones like Zoro and Brooks are pretty easy to figure out in a general sort of way, but what about ones like Chopper or Usopp's? Personally, I would be a little disappointed if they ended up being smaller side plots in a larger arc, much like what happened with the factory in Dressrosa. Personally, I don't think we're actually going to see those things unless they all happen to coincide with the final arc.
Actually, that's exactly what I think will happen, is all their dreams will coincide in the final arc. Like, they'll happen cascadingly, where, like, Luffy being the Pirate King would be the last dream.
Well,
Right.
I mean, Nami wants to draw a map of the world. I guess drawing a map to Raftel will be a good start.
Well, she's already been logging where
true.
they've gone and stuff like that. But seeing as it's her job to make a chart of where Raftel is based on the 4 intersecting points, then that could be hers. The 4 intersecting points also could, like where Raftel is, that could possibly be where the All Blue is as well. I mean, where all the 4 seas intersect, that's supposed to be all blue, right?
And Frankie's is the end of the journey, so I mean, that's his dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as Choppers is concerned, being a panacea is
It's a little unrealistic.
Well, yes, so is being the world's strongest swordsman, or finding the true history of the world. Like it's something that's attainable.
Yeah.
I feel like,
yeah, if anything, Chopper's dream could be like the most symbolic, where it's kind of like Hercule succeed in his dream by like doing the blossom, and that basically made people feel better. I think that's all Chopper really wants to do, is just make people feel good. He's Dr. Feelgood.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm also thinking that that maybe Luffy might have an incurable disease, something like how Roger had that incurable disease that led to his eventual death.
Right.
'Cause-
There's a lot of disease in this series.
Right.
Mhm.
Because, if you remember, before he was executed, Roger had a terminal illness, so he was going to die no matter what. It's possible that going to Raftel, there's some sort of communicable thing going on, and Chopper could be the one to cure it.
Yeah, I just don't see it likely that there will be a point where it's like, oh, so such and such a person, oh, they just fulfilled their dream, and then the series continues on after that point. Like it, because it's like it's the central like foundation for all of them being with Luffy. I mean, obviously there's a lot of personal love in between all the members of the Straw Hats, but like the reason that all of them wanted to go out to sea is for the purpose of having a dream, and it it's more about the journey than the destination sort of thing. I feel like it would just be weird to directly address that before everything is said and done, because then it's sort of like what we were saying in the manga recap about Law, where it's like, okay, there that story is, that character arc is kind of concluded, and then what's left, it seems like it would be a weird elongation of their prolonging of their story.
You see it kind of how it's like the end of Breakfast Club, where it's like, and Luffy went off to 4 years of community college,
Yeah.
and then Zoro went. Yeah, I get that. I get that sentiment. I think we'll still get that, but I think one of the reasons why they even got in the boat in the first place was to fulfill the dream, and I thought part of fulfilling those dreams was to be on that specific journey, not the journeys thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of questions, so that's
Yeah. Next is Sense Boss, who says, maybe it's because I can't see the colors in his clothes, but does Zoro's Zoe outfit look a lot like his East Blue one?
It does.
It is. Yeah, it's just a different T-shirt. I mean, he has a T-shirt instead of an old man shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's classic.
He's also his the top part of his robes are also like around his waist too. So
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Next,
go ahead.
next summer, Otaku asks, we haven't really seen Sanji use many of his 99 recipes that he got from Ivankov, the Kamabaka Queendom. That's right. That's what they call it. Do you think some of them could have extreme effects to potentially help Sanji out, like maybe making Big Mom into a hottie and her being thankful in that Duval way? Or maybe Sanji could actually turn into a girl with the right cuisine and slip away or fight girls on a technicality. What do you think they should do? He hasn't really used a lot of that.
It's an interesting
He's
tool.
there once, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
there's like power candy he can make.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in seeing more of that. We've seen very little of Sanji's,
Yeah.
growth.
Sanji.
It's like
We've seen very little of Sanji.
All of the stuff that we've seen relating to his time skip has been like the worst aspects of Sanji, like the
Oh yeah.
gay panic stuff. So it would be nice to see something, very helpful and beneficial coming out of that.
And there was a little bit of that at the end of Punk Hazard, but that was really it.
Right. Ogre says, any theories on how Jack can find Zoe so easily? Also, do you think that Zunisha is the Wink's secret weapon? And do you think the Emerald City that Bellamy mentioned back in chapter 224 will play a role in the crew finding One Piece or another poneglyph?
I was wondering how he found it so easily, not once but twice. So it's a good question. There's got to be.
He's
something.
got a beaver card for someone on the island, maybe.
Yeah, that was my idea. Maybe even Raizo. Maybe that's how he knows he's alive. If he does.
Yeah. And as for the other thing, I don't think anyone has ever gotten rich betting against Oda bringing back some tiny dangling detail at a later point. So it's certainly well within the realm of possibility. The Emerald City. Next, the one poneglyph says that he thinks Oda will most likely pay homage to the scene in Monsters, the one-shot, where Yuma cuts down the dragon. Nearly all the pieces required are in place.
There is an outside chance of Zoro taking down Kaido, but I don't think it's likely at all.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It would be interesting if they kind of did like a Hobbit thing where it's not Luffy that takes down the big dragon, but like Kinemon or one of the samurai from Wano. But given the way that Oda constructs the arcs, as Ed said, 99% chance it ends with Luffy punching him. So, yeah. Next question. Vin Smoked Up says, do you guys think that the fourth red poneglyph, the one that is missing, might be on Mary Joa? Doflamingo did say that he knew of something there that would shake up the world.
I like
definitely
that
speculated this.
we did.
Yeah. I don't think so, but it's certainly still possible.
I think that's fair.
Next, Pokachap says, last week this is the person who asked about Oden's wife possibly playing a role. I didn't expect it to be taken so seriously. Seeing her mentioned in this week's chapter makes me wonder how important she was to Momo. He mentioned his father multiple times and eventually lets up that his mother was taken too. Do you think she will play any role in the flashback? I find it likely since Momo was not on Roger's ship.
Likely, right?
Yeah, I mean, he did mention, there was a mother in the little flashback thing, so she's definitely going to play a part.
Yeah, but I think that's a thing that's more likely to be shown when they actually get to Wano, as opposed to being shown in a flashback about Roger's crew.
Yeah. No, well, Roger's crew was like 20 years ago?
At least.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's gonna be there's time for plenty of flashbacks.
Let's see. What is next here? Zephyrus says, hey, OPP, if Kaido really is in charge of Wano, which is semi-debatable, is it still likely that both Whitebeard and Ace will be buried there? Doesn't it make more sense they will be buried in Whitebeard pirate territory rather than Kaido's backyard? That Yeah, that's an unnamed island, right? That where the graves are.
Yeah.
It's just a location.
Yeah, they never.
Why-
And also, Sabo visited it pretty easily, right? Because he put the sake cups down. So it's got to be somewhere somewhat accessible.
Yeah, I guess I don't see the Wano connection there. I don't know why that would be.
Yeah, I don't. I
yeah.
think that may have come up on the show at some point in the past, but I don't remember what the context was at all.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
We need to offer him more. Asks, who do you think?
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Who do you think will fight Jack? Zoro because he had easy fights in the New World. Luffy to see what level he is compared to the subordinate of an emperor, or the Minx for revenge.
I'm gonna say something completely different. I know this was addressed to me because of the title of his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say it's the samurai. Because I think, after especially what Rizo said, why did you train me up? I wanted to step up. I could see it being the 5 of them even taking on Jack. Although I feel like Luffy and them would want to step up and do it too. So we'll find out. I don't know. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be super jazzed about having Zoro fight another huge guy so quickly, but it seems unlikely.
I don't think it's gonna be Zoro. Zoro's done enough.
I do crave a
Let
challenge.
Zoro
for Zoro,
relax. He's been too cocky, and this isn't gonna help.
Leave Zoro alone.
He's kind of a dick right now.
He is. I don't care.
Yeah. We're getting down to the end of Reddit here. Ogru says, I have a crazy theory about cat and dog's hatred for each other. Do you think that somehow Momo and maybe even Kinemon, Kanjuro, and Raizo was suspended in time somehow after his father's death? I went back to chapter 818, and Momo reprimands the two minks because they used to be close friends, and he thinks that they are fighting because of what happened to Lord Oden, implying that he knew them when they were friends. Yet Carrot said that the Dukes were returned from their long journey before she was even born. A lot of signs in recent chapters imply that Kinemon hasn't seen the Dukes for a long time, probably since Lord Oden's death. Yet it seems that they have not left Zou since their long journey. This is just an assumption, though. Kinemon said he was surprised that the two Dukes were still alive and on Zou, and the Mink Dukes replied that they made a pact on that day. Do you think that day was when Lord Oden died, and also shortly before they came back from their long journey?
I think there's just a lot of timing issues that are confusing at this point in the in reading.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of conflation. I mean, we're assuming certain things happened during,
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say.
I don't think he was frozen in time. I think
That's a little weird.
I think that's unlikely. We haven't seen anything in One Piece to suggest that that's a thing. So I would lean against that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else has thoughts on this idea.
No, I agree with that. It's unlikely, and there's still too many unanswered questions about Cat Viper and Dog Storm's relationship with Odin that we need addressed before we can start nilling about someone who was in a hyperbolic time chamber or something.
All right, and our last question on Reddit is from Wets22, who says, listening to last week's podcast, I was left incredibly disappointed in Greg and Jammer's thoughts on the chapter. If you don't remember, they were the ones saying that they were a little bummed out that it was kind of like
ignore
signifying
Jammer.
that.
I mean,
Jammer's just a contrarian. He thinks that he's all cool because he sounds like me. Well, there's a thing or two about sounding like me that you ought to know.
Yeah, at least his mic sounds better.
Hey, they're not going to find out until the stinger. So.
Oh boy. So the comment continues. As fans, we tend to overanalyze, theorize, and scrutinize stories we love, therefore making it.
Oh, really? One Piece fans? You don't say.
Therefore making it more difficult to be in awe as a story is reaching its climax. One of the reasons it is so difficult to please Star Wars fans, if I can make that parallel, fans have already thought about millions of ways where they want the story to go and are left a tad disappointed if it doesn't. As a story is concluding and reaching its endgame, there's more to tie in and less to reveal, and the stories will be more predictable by the end. I just think we should appreciate what we have week to week now and enjoy this incredible ride we've been on for almost 20 years now. Sorry to make this so long. Thanks, and keep it up, guys.
I think Greg kind of said exactly that, if I recall from last week. I mean, as a Lost fan back in the day, I could relate to kind of the apprehension of hearing answers, especially when those answers are not what you expected or wanted, or they would continuously deny it, and then it would just be that.
Or consistent with what they set up in the initial few seasons.
Yeah, I mean, Lost's answers had way more issues than their questions. I don't think I have more faith in Oda than that. I think Oda has so far in his answers been super consistent with what he's set up since the very beginning, almost 20 years ago, which is an insane achievement. So I agree with Mr. Wets 22. I think it will live up to what we're doing, and we're certainly trying to enjoy the ride as much as possible. Hence this show and all the ones preceding and succeeding it.
Yeah, but I think, it's just kind of inevitable that because we are so busy with doing all those things, the analyzing and the theorizing and the scrutinizing, that naturally having that process, the possibility of that process coming to an end is can be
terrifying,
sad in a way. Yeah, terrifying and just sad because it's the end. It would be the end of an era for all of us. So
it'll be the end of the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Ed, it's everyone's favorite time. It's time to
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
I mistaken your warm up for just like what time is it? I don't understand. It's time to piece the tweet. We take your Twitter questions, comments, and theories. Ed, what's on Twitter this week?
First question comes from Emil Nordpol, who asks, are cat dogs' Japanese names, compared to names like Wanda, Pedro, and Sicilian, a symbol for their bond with Wano? Or in other words, why do they have Japanese names and others don't?
I don't think it specifically has to do with Wano. I mean, it's, who knows? It's Oda, the way that he comes up with stuff is probably a mystery to anyone except for Oda himself, possibly including Oda himself. So I feel like it's just one of those creative process things where he just got this idea. He wanted them to have similar names, like they're kind of mirror images of each other in a way. And I think he thought of something that sounded cool to him. And maybe with the other minks, it was more just of a, like, okay, what sort of puns can I tie in here? Are there certain names that remind me of these animals that I can fit something to do with their breed or their species of animal into the name? He has all kinds of different ways of coming up with stuff like that.
Next one comes from Ice Rider 50, who asks, based on the new trailer for Captain America Civil War, what will cause the OPP crew to split, and who will be Zach's Spider-Man to Steve's Too Cool crew? I think that means Steve is Tony Stark.
No. Zach is Tony Stark.
Ah, right. So I guess that would make. Who
the hell's the Too Cool crew?
I don't know.
I mean, Captain America's crew?
I
think they both have equal sides that are cool. Black Panther's fucking awesome. Did you see him in the trailer? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to get on that. Like, get on it as in watch it.
I feel like the weird thing is, like, I don't think it's so much Zach, but I think it's me that's actually working towards getting a special new guest on the show. So it's almost like the roles are reversed, but I don't know what we'd fight over. Maybe Zach would be like, we need to offer them more. And I'd be like, no, we've offered them enough. Boom.
Or get off your phone.
But then who is Spider-Man?
That's the question.
Jason's coming back.
Oh god.
I was going to say Greg, but sure, why not?
I was
Or
going to say
Firecrouch, really.
Firecrouch.
Yeah.
Firecrouch,
Firecrouch roll.
Hey, I'm Spider-Man, everyone.
What's your lovely Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, big boy.
All right. Moving on to the next question.
Want to be some shit?
Asks,
It would be some crazy shit if dude was like the Black Widow in the situation where he was like surprisingly on Zach's side over mine, and that would like break everybody's heart. because you would
Yeah.
think, oh no, they'd be on a team together.
Dude sleeping with all of us.
I can neither confirm nor deny that statement.
Neither can I. What's next?
Martin Linvid asks, is Space Dandy just Frankie in space? Also, thanks for introducing me to it. I guess he means Space Dandy.
Yes,
He's a
I think
guy.
that's astute. It is
Yeah.
just Frankie in space. Voiced
The
by
dandy.
Brooke. Voiced by Brooke, yeah.
In space.
But
All right.
I do know that Dandy has never said, oh, the only way to make a woman shut up is by kissing her. So
Yeah,
Remember that?
that's a good rib at
Yeah.
Frankie. I did forget he said that because I repressed it.
no, he didn't. He didn't say that. Senor Pink said that, but Frankie kind of acted upon it. It was not a good chapter. It was not.
No, it was a really bad chapter.
Let's move on from that then. That's next one. My Lily Fern asks, this one's for Zach, I think. You get to be the sorting hat. Sort the straw hats into their appropriate Hogwarts house.
Well, has anyone else here read Harry Potter? Or am I the only one?
Yeah, when I was in middle school.
Okay.
I mean,
Nope.
I'm reading it for
No.
the first
Too old
time.
for that shit. I'm too old for it.
The first couple you were correct, Brian, but once you get further in, it's.
I've drank butterbeer once. That's about it.
Oh, really? How is it?
Well, there's different ways of making butterbeer. This was the cream soda version of it, and
Butterscotch schnapps. That
yeah. Oh yeah, you were there.
yeah, it's pretty good. But then there's also butterbeer that you can get at the theme park, which is apparently amazing also, but non-alcoholic, which is boo.
Damn it! Now I have reasons to go to the theme park.
Robin
I asked
Robin
you to
is a
get the good-
Ravenclaw.
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nami's probably a Slytherin.
Yeah.
Usopp is definitely a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Luffy's Gryffindor, no question, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Who did
yeah.
you say? Who did you say was Slytherin?
Nami.
Nami.
Yeah.
Zoro probably too.
Zoro.
Yeah, awesome.
Because he's all about the
Green hair.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
See, Robin's Ravenclaw, for sure.
Would,
Yeah,
would
Sanji's
Sanji be
also-
Hufflepuff?
He's also a Gryffindor. I'll be honest.
Sanji.
Gryffindor? Okay.
Yeah, but he's also sneaky. Sanji's
Sanji
sneaky.
works in the kitchen at Hogwarts.
He's an elf.
Sanji's a house elf.
He's a house elf. Okay, I like that. We're done. That's it.
Oh, boy.
Chopper. I guess Chopper
Chopper's a
would be.
Hufflepuff.
Do you don't
Or
think he'd be a
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw? Yeah, I think he'd be. Ravenclaw.
No, he'd definitely be Ravenclaw. He's very studious.
And Brooke is one of the ghosts.
Oh yeah, he's
This Nick-
one of the house ghosts.
What about us here?
And,
Yeah.
What about
and
us?
Luffy.
We-
Luffy would be Luke Skywalker.
Next one comes from Chow, very own Chow. Come up with a creative and/or funny English translation for each of the admiral's titles.
Red Mutt.
What?
Bluebird.
Blue Jay.
No,
Blue Jay. I like that one better.
Not sure what he's asking.
blue-footed booby. That's a bird.
Blue
No,
Bobby.
Akainu should be, what was it, Red Tick?
Uh,
Is that the beer?
Red Tick beer needs more dog. Yeah.
Yellow.
Yellow Monkey is just Curious George, and he killed that man in the stupid coat.
He took
I
his
mean,
coat.
the man in the yellow hat.
It's a
The
hat.
man in the yellow hat. That's his name.
His
by the
coat
way.
was yellow too, though.
That was his Christian-born name. The man in the yellow
Now,
hat.
now he's the monkey in the yellow hat.
Man in D yellow
me.
hat. He's
Look
a
at me.
D.
He's nuts.
Look at me.
How about,
I'm the man in the yellow hat now.
oh, and Fujitora?
Tiger Lily.
Snagglepuss. Snagglepuss.
I think
Next
Snaggle.
is,
I think,
takes the left.
I think Snagglepuss is the
Suffering
better answer.
suffocate.
Well, that's Sylvester.
We're not beating that one.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd.
You're thinking of Heaven's
Sorry,
Murgatroyd,
that's it.
yeah.
Heavens,
Yeah,
Heaven's
I
the Meteoroid.
Heaven's the Murgatroyd, yeah.
Heaven's Metroid, yes. Okay.
Heavens to Meteoroid. I think wins that
One more
one.
game of craps. I swear I'll win.
All right, Mastermind Rob 7 asks, with all the craziness going on lately, it got me wondering when and how do you think Green Bull would appear?
And what would his creative name be?
Mm,
Oh, shit.
maybe
that
he'll appear
specific
during the
kind of green shit. You know, green bullshit.
maybe during the Whitebeard Jr. stuff. That's when Green Bull will appear.
Yeah.
It's
a good bet.
Whitebeard Jr.
I get that.
I
I get it too.
Munchie the Panda asks, I love the Pirate Tour editorial. Since none of the people who wrote that are on this week, what are some of your all's favorite Straw Hat costumes out of the entire series?
Costumes?
Yeah.
Outfits?
Outfits.
Well, for costumes, it's got to be the Dressrosa Three Stooges. But
Oh yeah.
That's just.
I assume they meant outfits.
I was a big fan of Zoro's Skypiea attire.
Sanji's Water 7 attire.
Absolutely. The orange with the vest.
Orange shirt with vest.
Zoro's
Classy.
Zoro's Skype, yeah.
No, honestly, most of the Water 7 outfits that were different. Like, I really liked Nami with the skirt and tie. Classy, but still playful.
I really like Usopp's Dressrosa, specifically in the manga when it's like black and white. But yeah, I think that's a really good outfit on him.
That's like Usopp's Thriller Bark with all the when he's wearing all that wacky shit.
He looks like Vampire Hunter D.
It says something that we could like the Dressrosa outfits, despite the fact we saw them for so long. So
I like I like Sanji's cool Zoe landing gear. Like he has that really sweet jacket and the glasses.
Yeah, everyone was really well dressed at that point. Nami, Brooke, and the others.
Yeah, I thought they all looked really cool. I wasn't huge on Chopper's helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right on that. Chopper is the least.
That was probably Sanji's best outfit, though. Yeah,
I like Robin's Jaya outfit. I miss the cowboy hat. Yeah.
Oh, she needs to wear that hat again.
Yeah, she does.
She's quickly like morphing into just a default one piece lady. Like she could be anybody.
Yeah, I'm looking.
She needs shorter hair and a cowboy hat.
Yeah. As far as Brooke goes,
I always liked Crocodile with his fur coats. Always very, very dapper.
Well, he always.
He's my favorite Straw Hat too.
I really like.
Go
ahead.
Oh, Zoro's Arlong Park outfit.
Yes.
I like a lot.
Brooks, Jimi Hendrix look in Strong Worlds with the bandana.
Yeah.
Smoking cigarette.
I like that too.
I like how Brooke is. No one should tell Brooke he shouldn't smoke because it's not going to kill him. He doesn't have any lungs.
Chopper's Enies Lobby jacket.
Oh, little leather jacket.
The red leather, yeah.
Oh,
that was cool.
I always liked Nami's Enies Lobby attire too. It's very nice.
And I liked Sanji's Davy back fight. Just the shirt with the tie, very understated but cool.
Next question comes from the Kaizoku Rufi, who asks, I just thought about the image of Frankie staring at the whale, slowly combing his hair into shape. And then I noticed that some of Jack's dialogue balloons were kind of wavy. It led me to a silly conclusion that he talks like a drunk. That voice for him I use, and his design makes him, for me, one of the most unintentionally hilarious characters in One Piece. So any backing to that?
Sure.
So you're saying he sounds like Jack Sparrow?
I was thinking Jim Leahy from Trailer Park Boys. Just super drunk. I like that. It's good.
Steven, there's nothing to the wavy sort of speech bubbles?
For Jack? I don't know. I think it seems like intense. It seems like he has, I'm guessing he's probably going to have like a real gravelly, low voice, menacing voice. Yeah.
All right. Deoxy.
It's all the shit birds and shit storms up there.
All right. Our next question comes from Malicious Hat. In honor of Pie Day, what pies would Straw Hats and crew eat? Pizza is an acceptable answer for pie.
Pizza.
Yeah. Luffy would eat meat pot pie.
That sounds delicious.
I think Robin would eat cheesecake, and cheesecake totally counts as a pie. It's a misnomer.
No, you are kind of right. It does have like it's a crust. Yeah,
it's a fucking crust. It's not a cake. It's horse shit.
It's kind of like a hybrid. I wouldn't get so excited about it. It's very good.
Like a platypus.
Do you know what?
The platypus of pies.
Why? Does it lay eggs?
Yeah.
I think we should feed Zoro a big old slice of humble pie.
Oh. He's right though. Seriously.
Nami would probably insist on having like tangerine pie, and it would probably be really gross.
That's gross. Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a
then,
reason there isn't orange pie.
I mean, peach pie is like color-wise the closest I could think to
Peach pie is not a good looking pie, but it tastes very good.
I don't think I've had a
Nice.
peach pie before.
Nami's got the opai.
I know. I know what pie Sanji wants, but I will not say that on the air. Her pie.
Next question comes from JL Rivera. The name Rocket Man has always confused me. How does Tom know what a rocket is? Do rockets exist in this world? Sometimes
that's a
the guys-
dangerous path to go down.
Does
Sometimes
Elton
the
John
doctors-
exist in this world is also a good question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Javuz asks, how do you guys think Luffy will indirectly help Buggy reach Emperor status? He has pretty much grown in ranks because of him. Well, he's going to get involved with Giants because he's kind of upset about his Giants like deserting him. That's the last image we are left with Buggy. So I imagine it would involve that.
I agree, though. I think Buggy will reach Emperor status somehow
Yeah.
when all of this is said and done. Prior to the final arc here, and it will be hilarious. I guarantee it, as much as I can.
MJ Koopman reiterates something we mentioned in the manga recap. What do y'all reckon are the odds that the whole crew will fight Jack? He'd love to see another Oars style fight, but I think it's likely that they don't all fight him.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that as a possibility, but I see that more with the Kaido or someone else further down the line.
Yeah.
Blair Fuller asks, do you think the minks have ships, or does the elephant have some sort of armor that we don't see?
I mean,
Who
the
built the
elephant
armor?
is enormous, so to
Yeah.
take down something like that, I mean, think about how small the Thousand Sunny is compared to the leg of that elephant.
Mhm.
It's not like taking down a regular giant elephant. This is a superbly giant elephant.
Yeah, I think that Jack is just a very overzealous character because he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Doflamingo back. It's gonna be easy, and he got decimated and almost killed. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just a character trait of Jack, how he just thinks himself unstoppable, even through loss.
They try and attack one of the legs, and the elephant just goes there and slaps the ship's side with its trunk, and that's it.
Yeah, unless Jack has a harpoon and tow cable, I don't think he's taking that elephant down easy.
Well said.
All right, next one comes from Maxter Dexter. The Mink's power-up is moon-related, so the fight at Wano is less than a month away. When was the last time we saw the moon? You mentioned this in regards to defeating Jack, but what if it's for defeating Kaido in Wano?
It seems more likely.
Yeah, because of how far away the full moon is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one comes from 100 Beast Kaido. Since Jack is back, how does that change your predictions on when the Zo arc will end?
Well, we can't change them. They're set in stone, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it still doesn't change that much for me because mine's still like, 3-4 months away? I think we could be done with that by then.
Yeah, yours was 838. You got a while.
Yeah.
You got
It's
another
like 5 months in.
You got another 19 chapters.
Yeah.
You got a while. Sam is the closest, and right now 825. So if it hits 825 to 827, it's Sam's. What's next?
All right. Hunter's Fan asks, if the Straw Hats were stuck on a crowded and slow-running train, what do you think would each do to pass the time?
Luffy would pick his nose.
Yeah. Haven't we seen them on a train ride at this point?
Nami would
Actually,
find someone to
that's-
bribe to, make the train run.
Yeah.
Zoro would cut the train. Sanji would go all Chikan on everyone.
Yeah.
Usopp would start telling Chopper stories about how he once pulled a train on his own, and Chopper would be like, "Wow, really?" And Usopp would be like, "Yeah."
And
Totally happened.
and then
Robin
Frankie
G.
would fix the train.
Brooke would be busking.
What's next?
The last one's just a question from Dark Leviathan about the minx and the moon, but we've already answered that pretty much. So that's the end of Piece of Tweet for this week.
Yes, the moon is the answer to all of the problems in One Piece. So great piece together, you guys. Why don't we round off?
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 410 for the week of March 14th, 2016. Thank you all for being on the show so much. Good episode, you guys. We will be at Anime Boston in 2 weeks, Saturday, March 26th at 3 p.m. in Heinz Panel 309. We hope to see you there. Tell your friends. Tell the people you don't really care about that much. Tell them all to come. And we'll see you there. That's just about everything happening soon. I will not be on the next episode, but Ed and Steve will be taking the helm, and I think they have some pretty cool stuff planned, or nothing at all planned. Either way, it's going to definitely be a lot of fun. So listen in. And keep checking the One Piece Podcast for all the latest news, editorials, and more. We have a lot still coming out for One Piece History Month. Jill just came out with a great editorial on our website now, if you have not checked that out. So why don't we go through how to contact everyone. Brian had to head out, but you can check him out at Dark King Zoro on Twitter and Banendorf on DeviantArt, and check out Rick and Morty and Teen Titans. See, I remember what he says. Dude, how can people find you?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and Vine at Dude exclamation, all one word. And on the Super Art Fight front, I won't be on any upcoming shows, but if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, April 9th, Super Art Fight's playing at Strange Matter, and you should definitely check that out.
And I know you did a Super Art Fight with a lot of One Piece references. Was it this past weekend? I think it was this past weekend.
I did. It was this past weekend. My friend Dave made a harpoon weapon for me that actually fires, and I named it the legendary harpoon Ishmael. I did what Oda does and names objects after fictional things and people.
Interesting. Well, good.
I.e. the Ark Noah and weapons aside and yada yada.
Yeah. Cool. Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. I'm almost at 1,000 followers, so probably by this time next week I will have gone over. So yeah, join the fun.
Get him there. Get him to 1,000. Mm-hmm. Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media: Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Vine as well. All at Steve Yurko, all one word. Check me out. I'm on the internet. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna draw things. You should check it out.
Cool. That's cool. Ed, how could the good people contact us?
Well, Zach, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. Festizio. The podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com for news updates and funny pictures, curated by Jill. Reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. Leave us some piece together there. Our Skype name is One Piece Podcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. Subscribe on SoundCloud. Subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Or you can also call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAGI.
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories. Thank you guys for coming on. And thank you ahead of time, Ed and Steve, for all you'll be doing next week. I know it's not an easy job to get these out. Take it from me. I've been doing around 400 of them. So we'll see you next week for the One Piece Podcast. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
See you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I feel like they have some vengeance to do.
Yeah. What the fuck is happening? I feel like I'm listening to a Daft Punk record.
You don't always die from tobacco.
Oh god.
I don't think he. Don't think he. Know. Oh God, it's still going.
I'm not angry. It's funny.
Is Alex trying to talk to us?
I think
Evolve.
Alex quite realized that.
I don't think the robots are going to let us talk to Alex tonight.
Oh God,
Oh
Alex.
boy. Please tell me you're still recording
Sounds
this.
like a robotic cow.
I hope Alex listens to this at the end of the show. It's amazing.
We've hacked in. We're in the master CPU now.
Alex, can you hack into us? Tell us what's going on in the computer.
Alex, can you say Alex, can you say I need scissors 61?
we lost him to the internet.